What's good, everybody? This is the Urban Suite D Major with you. I am honored to have this next individual in for our open mic session this evening. MC, producer, all around great dude, Antlive. How are you this evening?
Peace and love, brother. I'm doing good. I thank you for having me, man.
Before we even get into it, I want to thank you for coming to San Antonio this past weekend. You rocked a great set for the R.A. Rugged Man and Afro show.
Yeah.
And dude, you killed it. You killed it.
Oh man, thank you, man. I appreciate you. San Antonio is love. San Antonio's always kind of shown me love. Even being an underground artist, I've been there a couple times. One time we rocked downtown in front of 10,000 with a Public Enemy.
Word.
And I had to open that show up. And I mean, the people in San Antonio is amazing. But the dopest thing about the San Antonio situation is it's just that it's a home for authentic hip hop. I live in Houston right now. I'm from Detroit, but I live in Houston. And Houston has its own music sound, its own scene. So I guess doing boom bap and underground hip hop is I'm more of a novelist here in Houston. Even though I do my thing, I didn't put my root down and everything here. But San Antonio is not in Austin, in that area. You guys love that underground raw hip hop, that nostalgic hip hop. So, it's a blessing to be there to rock and actually even come back next week and rock. But yeah, R.A. Rugged Man show at the Rock Box was live, bro.
Yes, it was, man. And like I said, we're glad to have you there and to meet up with you as well. Being from Detroit, how was that growing up in Detroit?
Detroit's a rough place, man. I'm not gonna kid you. You hear every rapper tell their story about how rough their city is. But, Detroit is known nationally, man. I'm definitely from the hood there. I'm from the 3rd Street area. Detroit we don't have gangs and things of that nature, but, you had hustler crews coming up in Detroit, and a lot of the hustler crews were dope dealers, but everybody had their clique. I'm just from an area called the 3rd Street area. So it was just like, I'm closer to downtown, real urban, real ghetto, real hood. And that's where I got my niche from, brother.
Yeah. So what
Detroit is rough. You survive the Detroit streets, any place you live is gonna be easy. Like when I moved to Texas some years ago, it's just the transition was very easy for me because the streets of Detroit move so fast versus the streets of Houston was moving really slow. Mm-hmm. So I was able to pick up and like, oh, this is what this like. Oh, let's go to the top.
Good deal, man. So, what made you get into hip hop back in the early days, and what about that pretty much got you discovered by Chuck D?
I was a musician, coming up in the 80s. I was definitely a musician. I was in the coming up the 70s. My mother had me in different, I was in the orchestra at the school. I couldn't do the woodwinds because I had asthma when I was young, but I did the orchestra, so I played the cello and the piano or those things. Okay. And so when rap transitioned in the 1980s, after hearing Sugar Hill Gang, I think I might have heard it in 1980, I was tuned in. I was locked in. The early 1980s, I was playing that R&B music. Me and my guys in my group MF 911, we had a band, so one of us played the drums, one of us played the keyboards, one of us played the bass guitar, and we would just perform for the locals in our area over there off of 7 Mile in Detroit in the 3rd Street area. We would perform for our neighborhood, and then we would charge our neighbors to come watch us perform. So that was the early Michael Jackson, Prince days. I'm thinking maybe Michael Jackson, what was that, about 83, 84 when his album came out?
Yeah.
The Billie Jean album. Soon after that, we transitioned into hip hop. So I'm going to say, I think Sucker MC came out in 1983, Run DMC.
Yeah.
And once I heard Sucker MC, I knew that's what I was going to do. That's what I wanted to be. That's the first rhyme I ever remember. That's the first rhyme that really moved me. Sucker MC, 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to say some MC rhymes. That right there was the most inspiring. So what we end up doing, me and my guys, we transitioned our singing group. Mm-hmm. It's not like we were good singers or a good band, but we transitioned that into hip hop, and through that, through being in hip hop, I was able to meet different people, like you say, Chuck D. Chuck D was he came to Detroit on the Fresh Fest tour.
Yeah.
And it was Chuck D, EPMD, NWA. I mean, it was all these top groups, and I actually went to the show. One of me and my guys, I think his name is Solo D David McKinney, my boy. We went to the show. We drove my what was that? I think we drove my 79 Chevette. I had a 79 Chevette when this show came to Detroit in like 87. So it's not like I had any money to get into the show. I didn't have no money. My parents didn't have no money for concerts and shit like that. So I wouldn't dare ask my mom or anything for some money because that was just a little too hard for us. But, I got uncles who got game, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They weren't hustlers or dope dealers, but they was just hustlers. They knew how to talk and they knew how to create and promote and make their presence felt, without pulling a gun or selling some weed or something or some dope to somebody.
Right.
So, I with that skill and that talent, being able to having the gift of gab, I was able to get myself, sneak into the concert, me and my boy. We got into the concert. We were in the stands. It was the most exhilarating thing that I seen, watching Public Enemy and then perform. I mean, through that whole concert, we was on our feet cheering the whole time. We was in the Joe Louis Arena, so that's a big multi-thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. So that arena, so that thing was whole packed. So I just remember the concert like it was yesterday, and I was on top of my chair like everybody else. And we jumped. I always do the fist pump because that's what we was doing the whole time that Public Enemy was performing. We was just pumping our fists. It was crazy, bro. So this is about like 1987, 88, 87, 88. It's got to be more, I think 87. So anyway, by that time, me and my guys, we doing music. We trying to make our way into the hip hop scene. Back then, Detroit didn't have a hip hop community.
Right.
So there was no Eminems, there was no hip hop scenes, there wasn't any of that. Actually, the hip hop scene didn't come into I want to say later 90s, maybe about 95, 96 in Detroit. But before that, I'm one of the originals. So I'm actually one of the first group to be signed to a major record deal out of Detroit. Me and my group MF911. You remember the rapper Boss?
Yes.
Boss, she was the first artist to be signed to a major out of Detroit. So she was signed to Def Jam. Right. And we end up being signed to Next Plateau. But going back to the Chuck D situation at Cobra, we were in the arena, and after the performances, Joe Louis, and after the performances, back then you don't have no internet and anything like that. So they had press conferences after all of the major hip hop shows, and we didn't have a lot of major shows. So I would say after all of the major concerts, they always had a press conference after the show. So after the show, I snuck into the press conference. When I sneak in the press conference, it was hard, man. This was Joe Louis, and hip hop was fresh, and you just had to know how to move. So I end up sneaking into the press conference. When I snuck into the press conference with my boy, I met Griff. So Griff brings me over there, and he said, "Hey, you want to meet Chuck or something?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm seeing they had boxes of merchandise, hats and shirts. So Griff let me get some merchandise and hats and shirts and he was like, "Yo, man, don't take all this shit." So I was trying to take it off. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, "Yo, I got family, I have my brothers. Nobody gonna believe me. I need this." So the dopest thing, Griff let me get in there. Then he introduced me to Chuck. Okay. He introduced me to Chuck, and then for some reason, me and Chuck is talking, and we having a conversation. And we talking about Chuck is Jay-Z. Chuck is Drake. Chuck is the biggest thing in hip hop back then. So it was incredible, man, because, to hear, Chuck is like talking to me, and then out of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, the press conference is over, and the tour buses, they got amazing tour buses, they're gonna go back to the hotel. It just happens to be the hotel is the Latin Quarters that they're going to go to. That's on the boulevard in Detroit. Right. So they're going to go back to the Latin Quarter Hotel. So all the rappers, EPMD, NWA, everybody's getting in their caravan. But I was Public Enemy fan. So after Chuck has a conversation with me, after he has this conversation with me, at the show, all of a sudden he asked me, "Do you got a car?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "You want to take me back to the hotel?" I'm like, "I'm 17, bro. I'm 17 years old." So you can imagine what my mind is. Chuck is 10 years older than me, and he's the biggest rapper on the planet right now at this point in time. So this is 1988. I think, yeah, this is 1988. This is the winter of 88.
Ooh,
and at this point in time, it was just like, I had that 79 Chevette. And I'm thinking, yo, in this 79 Chevette, bro, it's the most broken down car you might ever see. The floor was missing in this shit. So I had to put wood for the floor.
Yeah.
The wood even caught on fire one day because the engine was so hot. But that's what I was trying to make it. I'm 17. So I ended up taking Chuck in my broken down 79 Chevette to the hotel at the Latin Quarter.
Yeah.
I get invited into the room. We chilling, we talking. I'm with Grip. I'm with all of these guys. And then Chuck says, "Yo, Ant, I'm staying in Detroit while the tour goes on to the next city. I'm going to fly to the next city, but I'm staying in Detroit because I have an aunt who lives in Detroit on the east side. And do y'all boys want to hang out? You want to hang out, pick me up, and hang out the next day."
Word.
Now, I'm going to tell you what the next day. When do movies usually get released? On Friday, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the concert was on a Thursday.
Oh.
The concert must have been on a Wednesday because on Thursday, he went to his aunt's house. I think he hung around family. No, I'm sorry, brother. Let me get this to correct. The concert was on Thursday because I picked him up on Friday. Okay. Now, I vividly remember everything about this because there was a movie that just came out it's been one of the biggest box office movies in the world, which is what was it with Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
Die Hard, yeah.
Die Hard came out. So Chuck asked me, he asked me and my partner, said, Rat, he was like, "Y'all want to go to the movies? Go see that new Bruce Willis movie, Die Hard?" I was like, "Yeah." So he takes us to the movies. We go see Die Hard after the movies. He takes us to Burger King. We get burgers and everything. It was the most exhilarating time of my life, man. It was just like, yo, this guy who was, a living legend.
Yeah.
He was even legendary back then when he started. It was incredible. And he's spending all of this time with me. And we young boys at this time. We young teenagers, 17, and both me and Sid, 17 years old. So it's like, it's crazy. And we ride around the city with Chuck. We go to the mall. Cats is looking at me like, "Is that Chuck D?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my cousin." Chuck's telling you, "Yeah, that's my cousin," and everything. So it was cats who didn't believe in me because, hip hop was young, and I used to tell everybody I'm a hip hop artist, and I know Chuck D, and I know these different artists, and I know these different ball players because I was into basketball, so I knew Isaiah and Dennis Rodman and John Sally, but talking that shit at 17 years old back in the 80s to other cats, they was just like, "Nigga, you lying." You know what I'm saying? Because I played ball. So, I know how to move and shake and get to where I need to be, and I didn't have a dime. So at that point in time, that was my calling. So at that point, Chuck D, he just kind of built with us. You know what I'm saying? He kind of adopted me and helped me formulate my group. And I can tell you how we formulated my group. Do you remember the single with Flavor Flav? His first single that came out of the Public Enemy, The Fear of the Black Planet album? I'm doing your hip hop questions for you.
Yeah,
Does anybody know that Flavor's first single? I'm gonna give you one, I'm gonna give you two, I'm gonna give you three. All right, so if you can't tell us what Flavor Flav's first single is, I'm gonna tell you right now. Flavor Flav's first single was 911 Is a Joke.
I thought so.
So at this time,
he had something before that, but I wasn't too sure. But I remember 911.
That's right.
Big hit.
So when Chuck was working with me, he was like, "I got a new single coming out called 911 Is a Joke. So, Ant, I want you to name your group 911. And then if you name your group 911, you can kind of build off of that energy from the 911 Is a Joke single." you don't really, then, these is like, for real? So yeah, so we end up naming the group MF 911. The MF stood for Mega Force.
Yeah.
Ultramag, Said G of Ultra was my idol. You understand what I'm saying? It was Said G and it was Chuck D.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the Ultramagnetic MCs. Now we needed to be Mega Force. So what Chuck said, okay, we're gonna name you MF 911. So when you're doing your hard shit, you can be motherfucking emergency.
Right.
And when you're doing your shit, you MF 911, So that's how we hooked up with Chuck D and how I developed and how we developed our group, MF 911. Yes, sir.
Word. Dope.
Yes.
Dope. So upon signing to Next Plateau, was Said G the one to help you get that? And at the time, I did not know that he was working A&R at some of these labels at the time.
That's deep, man. I guess you kind of doing your homework a little. So dig. We know that Chuck D is the biggest rapper in the world at this time. With the 911 is a joke and the Fear of the Black Planet. So when he drops the Fear of the Black Planet, that's like another stratosphere.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? So I lose touch. I lose touch with Chuck. Mm-hmm. Okay, me and my group, we lose touch with Chuck. So again, I'm not gonna be denied. I'll show you something.
Where?
My group. So you know what I'm talking about. My group. You see that? What it say?
Yes, MF 911.
MF 911. Right. Oh. So this is the label. Let me see. Yeah, where is it at? The label Next. Oh, here we go. There's the label.
Yep, Next Plateau.
So that's the group. So on this record, right? It actually on back of it, they tell the whole story of how we got the record deal.
Nice.
So I guess I'll just give you guys a story a little. Again, as I go back, I tell you we lost touch of Chuck D. Mm-hmm. So when we lost touch of Chuck, what are we going to do? At this point in time, we're getting into, I think, 89, 90 or whatever. And I'm in college. I'm playing college basketball. So I wasn't just a rapper or a producer or anything. I was a basketball player.
Right.
So my goal was to go to college and play some ball for 4 years and then let the chips fall in life for everything else. Mm-hmm. So I was doing hip hop and basketball at the same time, bro. I gave them both 100%. That's why I guess I'm thankful to God because I was able to go to college on a 4-year basketball scholarship. I went to Dakota State First University in Madison, South Dakota, and then I end up coming back home and playing for Concordia University in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and that's the school that in the same city as the University of Michigan, Wolverines. So I was able to play ball against the Fab Five. I was able to play. I played against Jalen Rose, Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, and Howard Isley. All of these guys in high school. So my passion for basketball was just as passionate for music. But I was so in love with both of them, bro. I couldn't let either one of them go. You understand what I'm saying? It was like, I had to have these two relationships. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And the relationship was between me, basketball, and hip hop. So at this point in time, as I go back, Chuck D, we lost touch with him. So as I'm doing downtime during basketball season in 1991, before I go to the college, while I'm at the college, actually, I give Said G a call. So this is how I give Said G a call. I didn't know him. I'm not in New York. I picked up the Ultramagnetic album. So I picked up this album right here. Critical Beatdown album, right?
Legendary,
right? So on the back of this album, right, cover, it gives the name of their record label, which is Next Plateau Records, mm-hmm. and their address. So for some reason, somehow, some way, I call what do you call it? 411 information.
Right.
For all of you younger cats, You have to call information 411 on your cell, on your home phone, and they give you some information to somebody's number. So I got the number from New York for the next Plateau Records. I called up. This was like 1991. So I called up there and I asked for act like I was a record executive from a record label in Detroit. And I said, I'm such and such from such and such record label in Detroit, and we want to hire Said G to produce music for us.
Wow.
So the record label, I just remember the executive, one of the executives saying, well, you know, Said G and Ultramagnetic, they're not at this label anymore. They're at Mercury Polygram.
Wow.
So they're at Mercury Polygram. And he gave me Said G's home phone number.
Oh, damn.
So at this point in time, Said G is the RZA. He is DJ Premier. He's Said G. He produced Criminal Minded. He produced a Critical Beatdown. He's in major discoveries of some of your top producers and the rappers of all time, Tim Dawe. So they gave me this man's home phone number.
Yeah.
I call Said G I call. His mama answers the phone. And I'm stumbling and this such records. Can I speak to Cedric Miller? Said G. We want to do some producing. So she she says, hold on. Sadie. She calls him Sadie. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on here? This is one of the greatest producers that ever walked the planet Earth. And I'm hearing his mama calling him, Sadie, you got somebody on the phone. So he comes on the phone. He's like, you know, in this Said G voice, hello. You know, I'm like, at this point in time, I begin stuttering. So the lie and the hustle got me all the way to the man on the phone, and I don't know what to say to my idol or whatnot. Long story short, I end up telling the brother, I say, yo, Said, man, I'm gonna just be honest. Man, we some rappers from Detroit. We named MF911. Chuck D worked with us and named us. I said, but you are idol. We followed everything. I know every Ultramagnetic song there is to know. I know every lyric. I just said, man, we just need an opportunity and a break. And we live all the way in Detroit, so we ain't got no record labels and we ain't got no hip hop scene. So, you know, just he was listening to me. He was like, all right, then send me your demo. And if I like it, I'm gonna have you come down to New York. Nice. I said, no. I said, can we bring it to you, brother? I'm 8-9 hours from 10 hours from New York in the car driving, and I'm telling this man, nah, man, we don't want to mail that shit. We want to get in the car tomorrow and take you this demo. And he's like, nah, man. He said, send it to me. If it's dope, then we can talk. So we sent it to him. He got it. And he kind of hit me back. I think he might have hit me back within a few weeks after receiving the demo. Okay. It's like, yeah, this is good. This is hot. Y'all could come down and see me. What? So between me and my partners, at the point it was just me and my partner, and his brother was younger, so he wasn't a full member yet. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So amongst the three of us, and I think we even had the other cousin, J Stone. So two of the guys in the group are brothers. So in my group, MF911, you understand? So this guy and this guy said this many they brothers. Okay. This is my brother, Tim, and that's me. Right. My brother wasn't the best MC, but I needed to have balance in the group because everything always came to a vote. And the two brothers never ever went against each other. Okay, if you kind of get my sense. So yeah, but so at that point, man, you know, we end up going down to New York with $60 in our pocket, bro, between the three of us. I think we got that first fill up of gas. We had the first two fill-ups. All I can tell you is by the time we got to New York, we had only $60 in our pocket. Man. Okay, so we find us a motel. The motel we're gonna stay in is $30. It's a rat-infested motel. So when we get down to New York, the first place we go to Said G's apartment, his house. He was living with his mom and their own family, you know, so we go to their projects. I got all of these pictures I can show you as well. And we get there, Said's not there. We're greeted by Tim Dawe Fuck Compton.
Word.
He lives with Said, Said produced this album. So we're
Man.
greeted by the great Tim Dawe. I mean, rest in peace. I mean, the great Tim Dawe greets us at the door. So they let us in, there's 3 of us. And we was taller than all of them and everything. And we go, he's like, well, y'all can go in Said's room and wait for Said. What? I'm like, wow. So we in there, and he was like, if y'all see y'all demo on top of the pile, then that means y'all about to get signed. In his home bedroom. And we see it was stacked with Timberlands and Ultra jackets. And, oh man, I didn't understand, why did the guys need so many Timberlands? You know what I'm saying? It was wild.
Yeah.
But we see the demo, it blow smoke up my ass, whatever, So we're there a day. We're there a couple days. On the second day, we end up going to the Ultra Lab with Said. We record 2 songs, Get Open and another song. At that point, we Said is like, yo, we about to go on a tour. You want to go with us?
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? We like,
Wow.
nah, man, we wanted to go, but we didn't have no money. We had my boy's mama's car. At this point in time, we only had enough gas for maybe 3 fill-ups to try to get back to the city. It was tough, man. So we end up taking Said to Philadelphia. He had to go to Philadelphia to see a girl. We drive back to Detroit. A few months later, I'm at college. Basketball season is almost over, and I get a phone call in my dorm. This is like winter '92, because we met him in '91 and we drove down there. So he calls me on the phone, I want to say February of 1992.
Okay.
And he says, I got a deal for y'all. I was like, what? Got a deal for y'all. And he says, y'all got 2 options. He says, Next Plateau Records, they want to sign you right now. So Next Plateau, he said, had a relationship with him, even though they left the label, because the label wasn't promoting them right. Said G still had a relationship with them. They wanted some of his artists or some music. So he says, they ready to sign you now for $60,000, $70,000 a deal. I'm like, what? He said, but I also talked to Russell Simmons, and Russell Simmons is interested, but he said, you gotta wait. He said, but Next Plateau wants you now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, a bird in the hand is worth more than a bush. Who are we? It's not like we single out or our shit is playing on the radio. We don't have nothing, you know what I'm saying, like that. So we take the deal with Next Plateau. We get up there a couple months later. Now we're in May of 1992. So he calls us in February, lets us know we got an opportunity. The contract and the check was in the mail a couple months later. And after school was over, my college year was over, in May, we was flying off to New York. So that whole summer I lived in New York with Said G for the summer of 1992. And that's where we recorded the MF 911 album, which the MF 911 album was released in 1993. And the name of that album was called Idol the Blood Sports. So for all of y'all out here want to know some history on the Boom Bap King Antlive, it starts off from the group MF 911. So just go ahead to all of your streaming platforms and put in MF 911, and that's how we've come to this point. So yeah, so it was Said G of the Ultramagnetics who got assigned to Next Plateau. So he was our production company as well as getting assigned. Nice. So at that point in time, that's where I kind of learned to do the production, because I was kind of hurt, because after we got the deal and Said G signed us, when we get down to New York, I'm thinking Said G is going to produce the album. Mm-hmm. This is the great Said G at this time. And when we get down there, I just remember we got in the studio with him, and the first thing he asked us is, okay, so where's your beats?
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what? Hold on. You're Said G. You're our idol. We named our group MF, Megaforce, after Ultramagnetic. So no, you got us the deal. We thinking you're gonna do the beats. We had brought maybe a handful of beats, maybe 3, 4 beats, 5 beats. And so he's like, oh, so he ended up bringing some beats.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the beats, I'm gonna be honest, they were C and D beats. You know, beats that he didn't get off of the Ultramagnetics. And I get it. I mean, because when he got us signed in 1992, the album Funk Your Head Up
Right.
had been released in 1992, the Ultramagnetics, the Funk Your Head Up album. So it was like, oh man, so we were on the back burner. So we was just his group. He got us the deal. He got the big budget for us. He got the budget, but it just was, he just didn't really put any energy to us. So at this point, we had to learn to be producers ourselves. And at that point, in 1992, that's when I hooked up with Jay Dilla, because the album was, the album was slated to come out in the summer of 1992, the MF 911 Idol to Bloodsport. Okay. So it was slated to come out in the summer of 1992. But I remember after we came home, we mixed the album at Rough House Records. Okay. We came home to Detroit, and we got together with my man RJ Rice. He had his single called Shackles on My Feet. So he was doing hip hop. He was the guy who was collecting the hip hop acts. Mm-hmm. You follow what I'm saying? The local cats, and that's when Detroit hip hop starts getting a little bit of energy. This around 92. Okay. So he has Jay Dilla and he has other cats. So I just remember, Jay Dilla giving us beats, and we actually used a couple of his beats on the album that I had to kind of co-produce, because it was always an issue with the record label Next Plateau and the money. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't want to give Dilla and the other producer, Dawe Maynard, publishing, and it was really crazy with the label. So for the most part, I end up, and my partner said, end up doing the majority of the album with Said G, with us just only keeping about 2 or 3 of the beats he did. Okay. You know, and like I said, even the beats he did, they was dope, but they was C and D beats. You know, so I mean, but yeah, it's the G, man. The G, I owe everything to the G, man, because like I said, with no cell phones and things like that, he stuck his head out for us and got us signed. So, I'm not talking to Chuck at this time. We lose touch for a couple of years while I'm in college. So it was like, man, but the G came through for us. So I always, even though I feel like we didn't get the best of him, that the best he gave the Ultra, I'm out here as an artist, still touring the world and still producing because of what Said G did for me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how we got on with them. Yes, sir.
So out of necessity, having to learn how to produce, your repertoire definitely has grown because you've got so many great artists that you work with. How would you describe your production style?
My production style goes all the way back to 1988 when we listened to Critical Beatdown. Mm-hmm. My production style is a direct derivative of Said G, Cedric Miller. Listening to Critical Beatdown was everything. Now again, since Said G, we've had Showbiz, and we've had Premier, and we've had Pete Rock, and we've had Havoc, and we've had RZA, with RZA being my biggest inspiration in the 90s.
Nice.
And RZA was my biggest inspiration. So I guess that's to say is, when I came up as a kid into music, my mother was into rock and roll. My mother was the biggest Beatle fan in the world. Okay. So I'm like the only kid in the projects, black boy in the projects in the hood, who's listening to the Beatles and shit. And my mother had the records like the Beatles that just came out yesterday. And this is like the Beatles broke up in 1970, the year I was born. But I'm playing the Beatles like the 80s, and like they still out. You know what I'm saying? So what they're saying is, the melodies that I liked and the sound that I liked was real melodic and was real hard. Mm-hmm. So you go to the Beatles, and then I'm listening to Beatles, and then I'm listening to groups like the Doors, and I'm listening to the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger. These are my heavy influences. So while all the other kids in the neighborhood are listening to Rolls Royce and all of the fly R&B, soul, black music.
Yeah.
I may have listened to that with my uncles, but my mother was only playing the classical shit that she liked from the 60s. So whatever it is, that time in space that my mother locked into, she kept that shit going to the 70s and 80s. So while she's having babies, boom, that's what I'm into. So my sound had to be hard, edgy is what I'm saying. It had to be raw. When you're getting into soul, you're getting into dancing, getting into grooving. But when you get into that rock and roll, shit to make your head knock like that, that's where my energy came from. So when I started producing, I wanted my shit to sound like Ultra. But I remember when we got the deal with Ultra, this is crazy. I remember when we got the deal with Ultra, in 1992 when we signed, Said G was saying, yo, Ant, I'm like, Said, we want critical beatdown type of beats. I remember I told you he's giving me his B beats. His B and C, his D beats, I thought. Because they were all going like this. Boom, 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 bap. Boom, 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 bap. Boom, 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 bap. But I wanted the 1988 shit where the drums was boom, bap, 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 bap. I wanted that kind of shit. You know, I wanted to rhyme on that. You know, that critical beatdown like prophet of the Bible. You want to try me? Then I'm like, go, float, show, don't, no, apple, poke, could not write. I wanted them kind of beats from Ultra, right? I didn't want it that boom, boom, bap. But I'm learning. So Said G was like, yo, man, yeah, music ain't sounding like that no more, eh? So it was a process for us long. So as we learning, and as I'm learning from Said G, I'm taking his boom, boom, bap as he is what he was taught. That's the way he said it to me. He's like, Ant, they going boom, boom, bap, boom, boom. So I'm like, I'm taking that and I'm keeping that 80s edge. And I'm just making my sound. So my sound is a real raw sound. You understand what I'm saying? As a producer in Detroit, during the 90s, I always kept a rawness. Now, again, I definitely tinged in the West Coast because I could play. And I definitely tinged in some soul, some soulful things, but I never ever was pop with my music.
Right.
Never ever did pop songs and shit like that. I really didn't give a shit. I just was stayed in my lane. But again, when that West Coast came, yeah, I did give you a little, I was giving that funk because the West Coast in the 90s was crazy. So you if you was a producer, you just had to have that worldly edge. And again, being in Detroit, I always had a recording studio. You know, I always had the studio because I had my record deal early. Remember, I got my record deal in 92. The hip hop scene in Detroit didn't explode into 95. So by the time the 95 hip hop shop exploded, we had the hip hop shop with Maurice Malone, where Eminem and Proof and all of these By 10 of the Slum Village and Elzai and all of these Guilty Simpson and all of these dope MCs are going to. I had already had a deal and was already dropped from the deal. So when I had my deal went from 92 to 94. 95, I was on radio in Detroit. I changed my talents from music. I let having a record deal and having an album out get me a job at the local radio station, which was it was the number 3 radio station in the country at that time. 97.9 WJLB. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was like it was crazy. It was crazy. And at that time, all I can tell you is I was focused on doing beats. So I had a studio, I'm on the radio, so I got a name. So while all of these new young hungry MCs who don't have a deal, these cats, they're in the trenches. They're in hip hop shops. They're on the corners. They're on the benches. They're on the parks. Anytime there's a performance or something, these cats are there. I had a misconception about things. I figured that since I already had a record deal, I was too good for this shit. The fuck do I need to be going to some hip hop shop for and freestyle? And I'm trying to go get another record deal. You understand what I'm saying? So my focus was, I know New York. I didn't already had a deal. I got peeps and da-da-da-da. So I was more focused on in the studio working and producing. Plus I was making money in the city and around the world as a producer.
Okay.
So again, I'm hunkered in the studio. I'm hunkered in the studio while all of these new cats is out, boom, 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 showing their skills and making it. So by the time the 2000s come, yeah, I'm still doing these tracks, but I'm not that main central figure in Detroit because I'm in the studio making money.
Mm-hmm.
I had a studio, so I was a money maker. I was $50, $60 an hour, producing, mixing, mastering. So I didn't have no time to be in no hip hop shops trying to be a rapper with the locals. That was my mind state, but it shouldn't have been my mind state. I should have been in there with all of them, locals and like, building with them. So that was my situation. That was definitely my situation. Yes. So that's my sound to bring back to answer that question. My sound has always been hard and edgy. And the dirtier and the more grimy it is, the better it is for me. And I guess that grimy sense influence definitely was heavy influenced by RZA.
Nice.
RZA was 90. RZA was everything to me. And soon, that's why I end up producing for some of the Woo cats or whatever. But yeah. But we get into that. That's what my sound is. Yes, sir.
Cool. So when exactly was the official formation of Boom Bap Kings?
I developed Boom Bap Kings in the 2000s. Again, from 2000 to 2007, I was in the studio. I'm having babies. I'm married. I'm coaching basketball. So I got a young son that I'm coaching.
Okay.
So again, I'm not out there doing the shows. I'm doing my things. I'm doing my thing at times and spot checking and getting out there in Detroit more. But again, I'm still in the studio. So I finally get I'm working with RZA from time to time. I'm working with Proof. So let's just say in 2008 when YouTube got big, I moved down in Houston, Texas in 2007 with my family, looking for a better life, a fresh start, just something new, a dope environment to jump off. So by the time I get down here, I get a call from Ghostface, and he wants to use one of my beats, and that's Yolanda's house beats. So that he's like, yo, we use Yolanda's house, da-da-da-da. So I got Ray and Meth on it and da-da-da-da. So in 2007, in 2007, I get with RZA, with Ghostface. We do that Yolanda's house. So that kind of sets me off, propels me. I got a nice little check with that. I got my little contract from Def Jam for the production. So I'm feeling myself. So YouTube is really starting to pop. I'm starting to understand YouTube. So now I'm starting to make little underground videos. Okay, I'm making little underground videos for my songs. They real generic, but I'm able to tell my story. And it's an early YouTube, so I'm getting a lot of streams. Niggas is checking me out. You know what I'm saying? So from that point on, I want to say 2012, I throw a big show in Detroit. It's a return to the real hip hop, and we have Guilty Simpson, Bronze Nazareth. We have all of these. Let me see. Please excuse me.
No problem.
We have all of these guys who come in to support us because they're going to pay homage to MF 911. It was our return concert. So after that, I promoted this concert and everything, and I'm starting to understand how everything is going. Then we have, at this point in time, I meet a guy overseas, a producer overseas. He's sending me beats, and I like his beats. So I developed this group with him called the Rock and Rollers.
Okay.
And he's English. I love rock. He loves the movie Rock. He loves Rock and Rollers. I love that movie, that Guy Ritchie movie, Rock and Rollers. So we named the group Rock and Rollers, right? So at that point in time, it's getting serious. So I'm like, we just can't do a group. I want to tour England. My mother's the biggest Beatle fan. That's where I want to be one day. I go over there to do a show. It goes good. He's living in Northampton. His name was Ro Blunt. His name is Ro Blunt. And I go over there and we partner up as the Rock and Rollers. We do a show. I come back. I'm doing these albums. So I needed to, by me being a producer, I needed something that I could present my whole record team, my artists, LRB, Rock Z, Do Six. I'm doing projects I did some work with so many different art, Chuck D, just so many. So I was like, yo, I need my own company because I'm doing all of these spot checks and I need something that I can build off of.
Yeah.
So when they recognize Boom Bap Kings, they will just consider me.
Mm-hmm.
So came up with the Boom Bap Kings maybe in 2013. And from 2013, 2014, and then Boom Bap Kings, I've put out different projects. I've done collaboration projects with different artists as if I was either the producer or the MC. I've done beats for Chuck and Public Enemy. I've scored movies. I've had the opportunity to score different documentaries, movies like the Spencer Haywood movie, documentary or whatnot. Just the different opportunities that I've gotten working with Public Enemy. Chuck came back into especially back into my life really strong. We always was keep in touch. But in 2015, he was like, I'm about to take you around the world, in 2015. And that's what it really just the consistency in the tours. In 2015, I toured England and we did about 20 shows by myself with Bronze Nazareth of the Wu-Tang Clan and my partner Ro Blunt as the Rock and Rollers. And then as soon as I got back off of that tour, just was a little bit of bad energy. And when I got back to America in August, Chuck D was waiting for me. He was like, I want to work with you. I want you to do a new MF 911 album on Spit Slam label. I want you to start touring with me, opening for Public Enemy, da-da-da. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You kind of look at this shit. I'm 44 years old at that time when Chuck is talking to me like that. So, it's like the opportunity that I didn't get in the 90s, it just kind of came full circle. So since, 2013, 2012, I've been touring and presenting my music to the masses and being able to promote and do the bigger things and work with the bigger artists, like a Rapanoid or Mobb Deep, and we got together on the Art of Rap. The crazy thing with the Rapanoid shit, Noid has been one of my favorite MCs since Mobb Deep in 95.
Yes.
It's the RAPPERNOYD. Niggas can't fuck with me. And I just remember listening to him back in 95 and saying, that's the one right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one right there. I was a crazy Noid fan. So it's kind of crazy. All of these years later, I remember when I met Noid on tour in 2016 with Chuck. It was in 2015 or 2016 with Chuck. We was on the Art of Rap tour. And I see Noid and I just start rapping his shit to him. I start going through all his verses and he looking at me, Noid, Noid is Noid is a star, but he's a regular guy. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? He's he got a regular life he leads, so it was like, this nigga know I'm like, I know everything about Rapanoid. And it's just because I'm a hip hop fucking fan and you one of my favorites. So, I was like, yeah, Prodigy and, Prodigy my all-time favorite, but I'm like, yeah, Prodigy and Havoc, though, but you're my guy.
Right.
You understand? And me and Noid just kind of developed that relationship. So I done shows with them. We've done many songs and, Mobb Deep and Rapanoid has been an inspiration and to me when I was younger and just to be working with them and I've done this show with Mobb and I've toured with them on the Art of Rap tour. So we've just developed a relationship, man. It's incredible. And that's what we bringing it to San Antonio, man, that energy.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, let's get into the show that's coming up on Saturday on June.
Man, this is going to be a terrific show. If any of you guys are interested in hip hop like that boom bap shit, you can go into, just go on YouTube and look up Antlive and Rapanoid. We've done 1 million shows together. We got videos, songs together. And I'm going to be promoting shows at the Reggae Bar with my man Kevin over there. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to bless some good energy in San Antonio. You know, I like my man's energy, and I like an intimate spot with the rapper. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't, you know, when your fans can't get intimate with you when you go into the big spots and everything, but I want something really nice and packed and where guys can get up close and personal with us and the artists that they love to work with, rather it be Rapinoid. I'm bringing Ross Cos, I'm bringing Killer Priest. I'm gonna be promoting a lot of good dope hip hop shows that I know that San Antonio and Austin will love because,
Yeah.
again, those are hubs in Texas for that boom bap and that hip hop shit. So it's important. San Antonio's a very important stop, especially for us guys in the 90s and 80s, because there's an appreciation there, and I want to be the guy to bring it. So yeah, Noid and I will be there on June 12th next week, and next Saturday. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing show, man. It's just going to be, you're going to be able to do a meet and greet with them. We're supposed to be doing a meet and greet we're developing right now. So we just want people to have a good time. It's really not about making $1 million or making a bunch of money. It's just about really servicing the community and the hip hop culture with some good shit that they want. They don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to always be so far away from your artist. You want to be tangible with your artist. That's why I always like with my fans and my people, my supporters and my artists, I'm tangible. You can reach out and you can touch me. I'm not Jay-Z. I'm not any of these other guys. I'm Antlive. So I just got a different energy. So a lot of the artists that I work with, they have that same sort of energy, like a Rapinoid. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to be there to San Antonio.
Awesome. And hey, I appreciate it. I will definitely be there.
Oh, man, I'd be mad if you wasn't there, brother.
Before I let you go, are you getting ready to drop some new material yourself?
I got a new album out. Yes, man. I'm glad you asked me that. So I got a new album out, y'all. It's called Lemon Juice and Razor Blades. Sometimes rappers troll you. I had rappers trolling me, artists trolling me, people saying I couldn't do this, people saying this, that. So this Lemon Juice and Razor Blades album is EP. It's actually EP. It's 5 songs. It's just smack rapper shit, nigga. I'm just kind of coming at it at cats with the serious boom bap darts. I'm telling my story. I'm telling my side. I'm telling how I feel, and that's how I rhyme. My last album was Call Me at the God Hour with my man Genocide X. My album before that was To Manchester with Love, which I named that album To Manchester with Love because I recorded the majority of that in England. Mm-hmm. And Manchester is like my second home. I've probably done more shows in Manchester, England than I've done in any one location at all. You understand what I'm saying? So I got a lot of love. I get a lot of love in England. I got a lot of love for England, and I get a lot of love for England. So that's my second home with this shit. So To Manchester with Love, Lemon Juice and Razor Blades. I've got Detroit instrumentals, 2 out, beat CDs, beat music. So I've got something for all hip hoppers, you know, in the sense of if you just need instrumentals and you don't want to hear Antlive rap, we got that for you. And then if you want to hear me on some of these dope ass beats that I make or that I work with other producers, you know, you go pick that shit up. But it's there for you. And all you got to do is just go and you can Google Antlive. You can stream me on YouTube, on all platforms. I've got over 400 videos. Rather it be, it's incredible. You go to my page, Antlive, Boom Bap Kings on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, if you go to Instagram, I'm Antlive, Boom Bap Kings. We got something for everybody, man. And I'm so excited to come rock out for you and San Antonio, man. Noid is excited and we all pumped up, and I appreciate this interview with this energy, brother.
Thank you, man. We truly appreciate it, and we cannot wait for you to hit SA hard.
I'm ready, man. I'm coming. That's just gonna be electric. That's all I can tell you. It's gonna be very electric.
We ready, man.
So you just let San Antonio and the people. We got prizes and we got giveaways. I appreciate you you guys picking up this energy and continuing this hip hop music. And man, we gonna get it, bro.
Oh, for sure. We're gonna get it. Damn straight.
That next show we're gonna have on July 10th, and that's gonna be Roscos.
Okay, bet.
So we got Noid next weekend, and we got Roscos on the 10th. The shit is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, can't wait, man. Antlive,
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate you. And we'll be seeing you on June 12th. For sure.
Yes, sir. That's what it is. And I appreciate you guys for having me again, brother.
All right, man. We will see you next week. Please be safe and tell your family I said hi, man.
Peace and one love to San Antonio and all the surrounding areas. Y'all got it going on.
Thank you.
Boom Bap King Antlive, y'all.
Most definitely. We'll catch up with you.
Peace, brother.
Peace, bro.